Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Unlocking Vertex AI series. We're kicking off the new year by exploring the Google Cloud innovations that are moving beyond the contact center landscape to transform your customer experiences across the entire customer journey. Specifically, we're going to talk today about the new customer engagement suite with Google AI. Caleb, can you start us off by explaining exactly what is the customer engagement suite from Google and why is it generating so much buzz?
So yeah, let me jump into this, and I'll go ahead and share my one slide here for this. I think it'll help kind of guide some of the conversation. We can keep this pretty informal. So, Google over the last couple of months has moved into a different branding, if you want to call it that, what was traditionally contact center AI. And now they're going by the brand, kind of an umbrella term of customer engagement suite. It really still makes up what I'll say are the core features that you saw within both dialogue flow and contact center AI. So traditional virtual agents, the agent assist side of things, insights, those were kind of the three pillars of what was really sitting in CCAI. And so the new branding is really shifting more towards this concept of conversational agents, agent assist still, I think that one's pretty obvious, and then conversational insights. And I think that's a good evolution of where we're seeing things go from the analytics side of things, of really less about like specifically tell me the topic and intent of a conversation, but really the entire what's really happening within conversations with customers, with employees, members, citizens. It kind of goes across the entire gambit, right? But then you also have this addition inside of this of Google CCaaS. Traditionally, that was called CCAI Platform. Some of you may have heard that term thrown around, but it's really shifting into just Google CCaaS being their end-to-end kind of omni-channel platform that can really enable, power, take advantage of all of the other feature sets you see here across the conversational agents and the assist side of stuff, and then on the analytics piece of it. So I do think it's interesting, and Sam, I'll come to you here in a second because I want to get your thoughts on this. As we look at kind of the evolution of where AI is going and kind of being positioned across the entire customer journey, because I think we look at it from a lens sometimes of the contact center. You have somebody that needs help, they reach out, maybe they self-service, maybe they get to an employee or an agent that's sitting there at the phone or chat, and then, hey, let's go ahead and let's analyze the conversation post-call. Let's get data around this. Let's do some quality management, coaching, development, all those kind of things, right? So all traditional functions that we saw in the contact center, and with the pace of change that's happening just within AI, as it's getting applied downstream into specifically the contact center world, where we're seeing essentially every single technology that has been traditionally used going through basically upheaval, where everything's getting infused, whether it's how fast can I deploy a virtual agent on the front end? Can I create task assistants that are actually running subtasks for that virtual agent? Or, if somebody's actually live conversation, human to human, I've got virtual agents running and taking care of automation tasks for me. And then moving where it's not so much the delayed analysis of conversations, but almost getting into like near real time. Here's what's happening. Let's build triggers off of it. Let's like actually take action off of these things, right? Things are happening really quick. So I actually like this move from a branding perspective. I think it's easier to digest. I also really appreciate the move into Google CCaaS, because I think there's still a big part of the market that are just not even aware that Google has this product out there, and that it actually competes, and they're having success with it. I mean, we've obviously have seen success with our customers with it. So I know, Sam, like you deal with a lot of our federal agencies and customers in that space. And so I'm very curious to kind of get your take as you see these businesses starting to make decisions around, point solutions versus ecosystem solutions. What's the advantage of bringing it all into one place versus not doing that? So, I'll get your thoughts and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sure. Thanks, Caleb, and Happy New Year to both of you, Caleb and Whitney. I do have a lot of thoughts on this topic. It's interesting because we have seen quite a bit of innovation. In my 30 years of technology experience, I don't think I've seen such rapid innovation take hold across multiple technology platforms in such a short period of time and stuff. And so customers have to kind of weed out kind of what is valuable to them and try to determine what is the path forward that it's going to serve their purpose. In this case, we're talking about quite a bit about customer experience, but reality-wise, we're talking about business end-to-end transformation. Whether you're talking about productivity applications, whether you're talking about contact centers, customer experience platforms, fulfillment, logistics, it doesn't matter. AI is in everything. And as Caleb, your slide said, is customer engagement with Google AI. That's just really the reflection of the fact that Google AI is in everything that Google has to offer. Now, a little bit, taking a step back a little bit, I think that this core conversation of how you think about AI is really critical, because the way that I've seen a lot of technology platforms position their AI is very much coupled to the platform that they are pushing. So for example, you might have platforms that focus specifically and only on CRM, and they will add an AI component to their core CRM capabilities.
Right.
But imagine what happens when you marry a contact center platform to that CRM, or you marry a case management system to that ecosystem of that agent experience. All of a sudden, someone's going to have to figure out which AI is going to need to take hold. Is it the AI that comes along with your CRM, your AI that comes along with your contact center platform, or something else at the end of the day? And I think that one of the more valuable things that I've seen is that it's almost a repeat of these data silos that have traditionally plagued organizations, where you have data silos that are tied to your CRM, your CCaaS platform, and your core applications of choice. We're kind of repeating that same kind of model where these AI silos have the potential to exist and cause a lot of friction within an organization, because which AI model that's highly tuned is the correct one. And so when I look at Google, there's a real opportunity to kind of truly understand that there's a broader ecosystem of capabilities that allow you to dip into the AI platform of choice within the Google ecosystem, but use that across all your applications, maximizing reusability, ensuring that you're handling it responsibly, and you don't have AI sprawl across your organization.
Yeah, no, I like the concept of AI sprawl, because one of the things, and Whitney, I'll kind of get your thoughts on this here in a second. One of the things that we keep seeing is there are so many solutions available that are out there right now. And there's a constant conversation we have both internally, we were talking about beforehand, as well as just with our customers, and even within TTEC, just as a company, right? As we're looking at ways that we can leverage AI just to be more efficient, cut costs, all those kind of things. Is like, where do you want to go build? Because we don't know what's going to exist 6 months from now, 12 months from now. I know, like Whitney, some of the stuff that you've done as we've revamped some of our marketing content, demos, just putting out videos that help explain some of the solutions, right? Like, the AI is advancing really quick, but it's already, we're able to take advantage of it. I think you've done a great job of that so far. I mean, so your thoughts on kind of where that's coming into play, of just the efficiency gains, go fast kind of concept, right?
Yeah, I think we've seen the benefits of AI in these point solutions, and it's really shifting the thought between of not just adding a chatbot or adding a solution, but it really is integrating AI in a way that truly understands and supports the entire customer journey.
Yeah,
and not only a customer journey, but also the employee journey as well.
I mean, I think that's an important piece of it, because on the employee side of stuff, we are seeing a high demand around this. The enablement to make an employee's job easier. I think there's an aspect of cost pressure that's across the entire industry, like the entire market, just in general, of, hey, we got to be able to do things with less. And so, can I enable employees to be more effective at what they're doing? Can I make their job easier to where they don't leave, right? Where they actually are staying around, they don't have burnout. So we are seeing that, especially on the agent assist side, for sure. So, I'll chase this theme for just a second here, and we can kind of explore it. When I look at the contact center tech stack, where Google's definitely trying to play right now, and we're seeing this with all the hyperscalers, right? Amazon, Microsoft, I think they're all kind of coming after the same thing across the entire customer journey. There is a certain level of upheaval that's happening. I think there's other I'll call it technology verticals that have been disrupted earlier on, and it's just now making it into the contact center space, right? I think the CRM market has been disrupted. I think the HR technologies, those have been disruptive. I mean, obviously the data center networking, all that I think was like the first thing to go after, right? And so now we start seeing it coming into the contact center where it's even going past these initial set of features where there's automation that's happening. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. Conversational agents, agent assist, insights. It's really just automating things that you might have had one person doing, nobody doing, 100 people doing. And now you're getting into like, we can just go faster. We can find out what's going on quicker, enable people. But we're also starting to see where that disruption's happening at even like I'll call it even a more granular level, where you think about things like quality management, coaching, workforce management, right? Where that's starting to have an impact of these traditional systems, processes that existed. People have been doing the same operational model for 10, 15, 20 years inside of contact centers. And now you've got tools that are available that are, like you said, Sam, infused with AI, where you can actually go take advantage of this in a different way that you could in the past.
Yeah, I think that this whole trend around agentic AI has become front and center, right? I mean, I think before you'd highly depend on someone recording what you're doing and assume that there's a lot of repeatability tied to what the task and action is. But the beauty of all the kind of generative activity is that we know that everything isn't just a static linear activity. When you're in the customer experience realm, you need this kind of corpus of information to draw from, right? That maybe across multiple silos within an organization, coalesced into the enterprise singular corpus of knowledge, so that it can be synthesized for the AI to learn a little bit about what agents should be responding with. But now with the kind of capabilities that Google has started to really, from a visionary show, have the browser kind of observe what you're doing, and then really kind of take that kind of piece of observation combined with what people should be doing from a knowledge or standard operations perspective, and be able to apply AI to reason what is the next step on behalf of the agent, and basically not to necessarily always replace, but really to support and make sure that the agent has the right answer at the right moment, really deliver that best-in-class experience. And that's a game changer, because you think about the real-time computation that needs to happen. You know, before it was text, now it's voiced, and now it's multimodal. And it's, you know, we're almost at a point where all those kind of components, all those signals you have about the entire interaction or experience become part of, you know, the foundation of understanding what the customer wants and how to serve them best in that moment.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
At the end of the day.
No, I like where you're going with that. So one of the things that we keep seeing, and it kind of goes, I think, along this idea of change, just I'll say it in general, the pace of change, right? I mean, you rewind 18 months, maybe it's 2 years, I don't know. But in my layman approach of it, right, like Gen AI didn't exist and then it existed and everybody's been reacting to it since then, right? So I think part of the challenge that we see is everybody keeps thinking, hey, we're going to hit this point, this stall out point where, okay, it's slowed down, products are built, I can go and do a traditional evaluation. I can compare these three things together because they all do something similar, and I can go make a decision. The problem obviously is that just takes time, and there's a competitive issue, I guess, if you want to say that, of, hey, if you want to actually go and win market share, or you want to go provide better service, and as a result of that, better customer satisfaction, and you're going to gain more customers as a result of that, like, you got to just simply go fast. And so there is this notion of fail fast, or go fast, fail fast, right? And knowing that you can change, because I think we've seen it even with some of the retail products that are out there, like the Notebook LM, some of these other things where it seems like they're changing every couple of months or weeks, right? New features are coming out, new ways to interact with data. And that's just slowly bleeding its way into the enterprise version of these capabilities, where you can go out and, you know, there's going to be new ways to build virtual agents, right? It was directed, or you would go out and build self-service workflows based off of intents. And then it's like, okay, let me go use a playbook and build this. And it's all prompt engineering. And that, I mean, I don't even know what the next thing's going to be, right? It's going to read my mind or something. And it's just going to build the agents off of that. So it's like, you know, but we have these conversations with companies where they're saying, all right, like what's the best approach to this? And should I build it in this kind of a, model? And then what happens if the whole thing changes in 6 months from now? Like, what do I actually go do,
Yeah, I mean, I think that topic is one that is every organization probably is going to have to contend with, given the pace of innovation we keep reinforcing. And we need to accept it. Reality wise, we need to accept it and say it's okay. You should still make a choice not to take advantage of the latest and greatest. But the opportunity that I see is that every organization now has a much higher capacity to take on change and to be able to make those changes with much higher velocity. So the hard part now is it's less about whether you have the capacity to do that change. It's more so, do you actually understand what changes you want to make? Because before you had this like 2-year kind of backlog of stuff that you want to get to. Now that 2-year capability gets shrunk down to a much more narrow timeline. And really what you're down to is, what do you want to change? And the internal change management aspect on your employees, right? Of being able to keep track of these changes to their employee application and how the process will evolve over the course of time. That part is probably the most significant part that will drive a lot of organizations, to really test whether they're ready to take on these transformative technologies.
Yeah, I'm with you, because that interim change management, I mean, like, I don't think we had that on even our list of things to talk about today, right? But it's the reality of it that the technology is going to happen. It's going to continue to evolve. We obviously are in a unique position because we get to have early access to things. We see it as it's happening. We're talking to a lot of different companies. We're seeing the challenges they're going through. But at the end of the day, you still have humans that are behind this, that are trying to adapt to this as quickly as possible, right? And then be able to put it into motion. But the cool thing is the feature sets that are rolling out on what feels like a weekly basis right now, it is allowing us to go faster. We can get things in the field quicker. You can evolve things faster. You can learn from the interactions faster. It's very different than it was, months, years before. And the amount of data that's simply coming out of all of this is incredible. But it's also, I think, usable in a way that's never been possible before, where you can actually tell what's going on and you can take action on it. It's pretty cool. So, okay, I know this was kind of a kickoff to the year, kind of get a conversation started with the rebranding that Google's going through. We're going to continue to do more of these conversations just as new features are available, the evolution of the product. So, Whitney, I don't know if you want to wrap us up with what we kind of have next coming in the series of things. I'll let you have the final thought here.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, I have one more question for you two. As you're talking about change, and you both are much more customer facing than I am, but do you think with the way Google is rolling out these new features and capabilities, does it provide flexibility for our clients to be able to scale and grow with the technology and implement the new capabilities?
So I'll take a run at this, and Sam, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. So I do think it provides flexibility. When I compare where Google's going with this, with the goal of creating what I'll say a single platform, single interface to interact and build things with, there is an advantage with that. And that's not even me being biased towards Google. It's just kind of the maturity, I think, of the available sets of features where the products seem to stack currently, right? So from an agility standpoint, I do think it exists. I think you can start building in a place, and as new features get rolled out, new capabilities, or even just a new approach, new methodology to it, those can be adapted. I do think there's also just a reality, though, of there's a chance that things are going to be built in a certain way, and 6 months from now, there's going to be a really improved, better way to do it. And so there may be a little bit of rebuilding that happens as a result of that. I don't think we can prevent that at the moment, but I don't know, Sam, you may have different thoughts than I do.
No, I think you're on point. I think that so far what we've seen is, Google is being very mindful and thoughtful about how they're exacting change in the technology community. Nothing has been thrown away. I think it's all building blocks to the predecessor, but there's a point when the capabilities of the technology almost make the legacy kind of paradigms obsolete, right? And,
Yeah.
and I think that's what we're talking about. And the example I kind of use is the good old, you mentioned earlier on the intent-based modeling for dialogue flow. Those are very deterministic. You want a certain outcome. You can figure out how to get there. You expect a very rigid set of rules that surround it,
Yeah.
and off kind of go. You know, with all of Google AI's kind of latest models and their ability to reason and be very well grounded, it becomes less and less of a need to be able to leverage some of those legacy capabilities. And Google acknowledges that those capabilities are still very much required, because when you're in a highly regulatory requirement where you need exact verbatim words and not anything generative, use case right there. But you think about how many use cases exist where verbatim is the requirement. There probably aren't very many of those outside of those ones that are when you're dealing with more regulated use cases.
Yeah. No, good question, Whitney.
All right. Well, thank you, Caleb and Sam, for your perspective. It's always very insightful, and I think there's a lot we can talk about. And we're going to on more episodes of these. So keep checking back each month, and we'll release a new episode on this Unlocking Vertex AI series. And otherwise, go to TTECdigital.com to learn more on all things Google Cloud.